Hello folks, I reviewed the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure on my channel, and it has featured in some comparisons with other microphones as well. I'll say now that it has become my most used microphone when recording voiceover because, well, I like the sound and it's such a compact and convenient package. Some people have mentioned and asked questions about the LCT 240 Pro in comments. It's a much less expensive mic, and there are some significant differences between the 440 Pure and the 240 Pro. I decided to test out the 240 Pro and see how it does. In this video, I'll be taking a quick look at it, and I'll compare it to the 440 Pure. At $150, the 240 Pro is over $100 less than the 440 Pure, but it is a bit more expensive than some of the competition from Audio-Technica and others. Speaking of which, I'm not sure how I've never ended up testing out an Audio-Technica mic, so let me know in the comments if you think that I should change that. The form factor of the 240 is identical to that of the 440. In fact, it can use the same shock mount and pop filter. Unfortunately, the 240 Pro includes only a basic mic mount and a foam windscreen, but not the shock mount and magnetic pop filter that the 440 Pure includes. Like the 440, the 240 Pro is a simple cardioid pattern microphone with no low-cut filter or pad switches. But rather than the 1-inch diaphragm of the 440, the 240 Pro has a smaller diaphragm, around 5/8 of an inch in diameter. Smaller diaphragms are generally a bit less sensitive, so they tend to have slightly worse signal-to-noise ratio, all else being equal. However, a small diaphragm can respond and change direction quicker, so they can potentially be more accurate and are sometimes preferred for instruments due to better transient response. And sure enough, the 440 Pure is a quieter microphone in terms of self-noise. The 440 Pure is rated at just 7 dBA of self-noise, while the 240 Pro is rated at 19 dBA. That difference is large enough to be audible in some situations, but it's not as if the 240 Pro is like a terribly noisy microphone or anything. The 440 Pure is also a bit more sensitive, so it should require slightly less gain from your preamp to achieve a given output level. According to the frequency response graphs on Lewitt's website, the 440 Pure has a mostly flat response with a boost in the upper range, while the 240 Pure is less flat overall. It shows a bit of a roll-off in the lowest frequencies and even slightly more boost in the upper range. So that's a look at the major differences and how they appear on a spec sheet. But how do they each sound? So far, you've been hearing the LCT 240 Pro. But now I've got the 240 Pro and the 440 Pure set up side by side so I can switch back and forth and you can compare the two. The 240 Pro does not come with a shock mount, but how important that is for you will depend on how you're using it. All else being equal, I'd rather have one than not, but in my situation, with the mic being on a boom arm, it wouldn't be absolutely critical for a lot of what I do. Some of the price difference with the 440 Pure is surely due to the included shock mount and pop filter. And despite the sensitivity spec being a bit different, I find that the gain on my interface is actually set pretty close to the same to get the same levels. The gain on the 440 Pure might be set just a touch lower, but it's not a very big difference. Now I'll give you a moment of quiet with each microphone so you can compare the noise floor. I'm not a singer and I don't play any instruments, so I'm not much help in terms of which mic is better for those things. But hopefully this comparison at least gives you an idea of any major differences in the sound profiles of these microphones and how they'll compare in voiceover use like this. I don't have any proper direct price competitors to compare with the 240 Pro right now, but if you would like me to compare it to any other microphones, let me know. So hopefully this was helpful and you know a little bit more about the 240 Pro right now and whether or not it would work for you. If you have any questions, I'll answer if I can. As always, thanks for watching. Take care.